If you're someone who wakes up every single morning with a blocked nose, those crazy sneezing fits, and watery eyes, you already know the absolute frustration of allergic rhinitis. Now, you've probably been told your whole life that it's all about avoiding your triggers. But what if that advice is missing the entire point? Let's get into it and uncover what's really going on.
We've all heard this one, right? It's the classic advice. You're supposed to wage this never-ending war on every single particle of dust in your home. And then there's this one. You've probably bought all the hypoallergenic stuff, the pillows, the covers, you name it. You're always hoping for that one magical fix that's going to solve everything. And of course, the medication cycle. A quick spray gives you some relief, sure, but then it just becomes this daily ritual that you feel like you can never, ever escape. But here's the thing that drives you crazy. You do all of this, you follow all the rules, and still, like clockwork, the symptoms come roaring back every single morning. So why? What is really going on here?
Well, this is the moment we have to completely flip the script on how we think about allergies. Because it turns out the triggers, the dust, the pollen, they aren't the real enemy you've been fighting all this time. So instead of seeing dust as the cause, I want you to start thinking of it as a signal. It's like a flashing check engine light on your car's dashboard. The light isn't the problem, right? It's just pointing to a deeper issue, an immune system that's kind of stuck in panic mode. So let's get right to the heart of it. The real problem isn't what's floating around in your environment. It's about what's happening inside your body. It's all about a hypersensitive immune system. Okay, let's break down the science of what's happening. It's called a type 1 hypersensitivity reaction. First, your immune system messes up and creates these specific antibodies called IgE. Then, these antibodies go and attach themselves to things called mast cells in your nasal lining, basically setting a trap. So when a trigger, like pollen, shows up, those mast cells literally explode, releasing this flood of histamine. And that is the moment you feel the sneezing, the itching, all of it. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Think about it. Your friend can be in the same room, breathing the same air, and be totally fine. The dust isn't toxic. The difference is that your immune system has been trained over years to see that dust as a major threat. Okay, so if triggers are just signals, what are they actually signaling? Let's decode what the most common triggers are really trying to tell us about our bodies. Let's start with the usual suspects, right? Dust, pollen, pollution. When these things set you off, it's a huge signal that your nasal lining, your body's first line of defense, might be compromised. Think of it as being kind of leaky. This lets those allergens get in way deeper than they should, and they activate those hair trigger mast cells way too easily. You ever wonder why your allergies go absolutely haywire in an air-conditioned room or on a cold day? It's not like you're allergic to cold air. No, it's a signal of weak nasal immunity. That cold, dry air actually damages the delicate barrier in your nose, essentially opening the floodgates and exposing your immune cells directly to any allergens in the air. All right, this next one, this is a total game changer, and it's the one that almost everyone overlooks. The connection between your gut, your food, and what's happening up in your nose is it's huge. 70%. Just let that sink in for a second. 70% of your entire immune system is regulated in your gut. This is not some small, random connection. Your digestive system is literally the command center for your immunity. So how does that work? Well, it's a chain reaction. When your digestion isn't working right, it creates inflammation in your gut. That inflammation then sends all these confused signals throughout your entire body, causing your immune system to misfire in other places, like your nose. And everyday things like too much sugar, a lot of processed foods, or even just eating a big heavy meal too late at night can all fuel this fire. And then you've got the silent triggers. Ever notice your allergies are a nightmare during a stressful week at work, or after just a few nights of bad sleep? That is not a coincidence. It's a clear signal of what's called neuroimmune dysfunction. Basically, chronic stress and poor sleep throw your body's communication systems into chaos, messing up immune signals and even directly pumping up your histamine levels. Now, let's have an honest talk about our go-to solutions. Look, nasal sprays and antihistamines, they feel like a lifesaver in the moment. They give you that temporary relief by just shutting down the immune response. But there's a cost. Over time, they can actually weaken your nose's natural defenses, slow down its ability to repair itself, and create this vicious cycle of dependency and rebound congestion. You're trading long-term resilience for short-term relief. So all of this leads to that one big question that so many of us have.
Why does it feel like my allergies get worse every single year? How come I feel like I'm collecting new triggers all the time? Well, it's because of something called the allergy spiral. Early on, every single allergic reaction you have is like a training session for your immune system, conditioning it to have a stronger, faster response next time. Over the years, this creates a constant state of inflammation that keeps your whole system on high alert 24/7. And the result? Your immune threshold, the amount of stuff it takes to trigger a reaction, it just gets lower and lower. So now, even tiny amounts of dust can set off a huge explosion of symptoms.
And I really want to pause here because this is so important. This whole downward spiral, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. This is just how immune memory is designed to work. It learns and it remembers threats, even when it's completely mistaken about what a threat is. So if avoiding triggers isn't the real answer and medication is just a Band-Aid, then where do we go from here? The solution is a big shift in strategy. We have to move away from avoidance and move towards immune repair. And what does that path to true improvement actually look like? Well, it's about looking at the whole system. It's about actively healing that leaky nasal lining we talked about. It's about stabilizing the immunity in your gut, the command center. It means calming that stress response that keeps your system on edge. And ultimately, the real goal here is to restore immune tolerance, to basically retrain your body so it stops overreacting to everything.
Let's just sit with this powerful idea for a moment. The problem isn't that the world is suddenly filled with a million things you're allergic to. The problem is that your immune system has simply lost its sense of balance. It's forgotten how to tell the difference between a real danger and a harmless particle of dust.
So let's end with this question. What if we changed the goal entirely? Instead of shrinking our world to avoid triggers, staying inside, saying no to hikes or picnics, what if the focus was on rebuilding our internal resilience? What if the true, lasting solution isn't about hiding from life, but about retraining your immune system so you can finally fully participate in it?